Hey guys, Professor Monty here, and welcome back to another video. This time we're going to talk about comparatives and superlatives. But I really do suggest that if you haven't yet watched my video on haikus, check that out first because it's going to help you with this grammar point. All right, understand syllables, and hey, you can write me a super cool poem and I'll be able to read it. So check that out first, guys. Link in the description, or if you're doing my course, just go up and make sure you do that first. Now, let's talk about comparatives and superlatives. I want you to understand the basic thing, okay? So let's say I have these pens here, and I want to compare them, okay? Let's start with these two. Let's say I like, this pen because it's nice and light, okay? The lightweight feature of it, I like it. This one's a bit, it's heavy, okay? So I want to say, okay, this pen is lighter than this one. Or this pen is heavier than this pen. Okay, so we're comparing the two pens, right? We can do this. We can do this by using adjectives. We can also talk about superlatives, right? Which one's the greatest, right? So we can say that this pen, out of all these pens, right, this group of pens, say this pen is the lightest pen out of all the pens I have. Let's say I have 20 pens. This pen is the lightest pen. All right. So that's the idea, guys. Let's start first with adjectives and one-syllable adjectives. Okay, I'm going to put my pens down there. So one-syllable adjectives, guys, here we have tall, right? Tall, that's one syllable, right? Whereas normal, that's two syllables. So the normal one-syllable adjectives, you just add er for the comparative. So you add er, becomes he is taller than his sister. When you want to do the superlative, you add est, excuse me. So Jamie is the tallest girl in her class. So out of everyone in her class, Jamie is the tallest one. Okay, so you notice this one's comparing two people. When we compare two objects like the pens or people, we like to use this than. Okay, not like then, like I went to the store, then I went to, I don't know, the community center to skate. Okay, I don't know. No, it's not like en. It's an, than, for a comparison. Okay? With our superlative, we always want to add this the. So Jamie is the tallest girl in her class. Easy enough? I think so, right, guys? You may be wondering if I want to say he is less tall than his sister. Usually we don't say less tall, we say he is shorter. So usually there's a better adjective if we want to say the opposite. He is shorter than his sister. Or Jamie is the shortest girl in her class. Okay? So usually there's an opposite we can use there. Moving on here. If the adjective, okay, ends in E, and remember guys, adjectives describe nouns, okay? So if I'm saying she is nice, that nice is describing her, a person, right? Or a thing, right? A noun, person, place, or thing. The adjective describes it. We understand what it is more, okay? The comparative for something that ends in E and it's one syllable, still one syllable, nice, just add R. So he is nicer than she is. For the superlative, add st. She is the nicest girl in town. Okay? Now is where it gets a little tricky, okay, with this little CVC consonant vowel consonant thing. So if the adjective, I always say that, if the adjective ends in CVC, so this is your consonant, I is your vowel, and G is your consonant, if that's how it ends and this adjective ends like that, right, because it only has 3 letters, we want to double it. Double that consonant and add ER. If you don't like this rule and you think it's too complicated, just remember, okay, bigger, I need 2 G's. Wetter, I need 2 T's. Biggest, I need 2 G's. Okay? Here are some examples, guys. For example, I think Jane is wetter than you. I guess she didn't have as much time to dry off. Okay, so comparing, right, Jane and you, okay, with this wetter, okay, we need that double T. That's a spelling thing, right, guys? You sweat so much, I think this is the wettest t-shirt I've ever seen. So here you're using wettest, the wettest t-shirt, describing the t-shirt. And note that in English we put the adjective before here, this t-shirt. Not this is t-shirt the wettest. No, this is the wettest t-shirt. Okay? And in this case, maybe it's not actually the wettest t-shirt, right, with the most water. Maybe it's just to add emphasis. Sometimes we use superlatives to add emphasis. Now talking about 2-syllable adjectives, so not 1 syllable, now 2. For example, simple, simple. We just want to add, okay, when it ends in PLE or BLE, like simple, or noble, just add an R. So it becomes simpler. Or just add ST here, simplest, or nobler, noblest. Okay, this is the simplest lesson on my channel. Maybe not, I don't know. But that's an example, okay? So if a 2-syllable adjective ends in Y, though, we need to subtract that Y, add IER. So it becomes crazier with IER. Get rid of that Y, right? Add IER. So it becomes crazier. He's crazier than you. Or she's the craziest girl I know. Okay, the same thing with lazy and busy, ends in Y. They end in Y. Okay. I hope that you could see that. I don't know if I was cutting you off here with my face. I'm not sure. If not, you see it now. Okay. So now some other 2-syllable adjectives. Okay. You're gonna see here honest, right? Honest. That's 2. For these ones, just say more or less, and most and least. So for example, she is more honest than him, or she is less honest than him, so not as honest, okay? The same thing here, she is the most honest person I know, she is the least honest, so least is the bottom, right? Most is higher quality, right? The best. Another thing, guys, okay, now moving on, with these adjectives here, okay, you see that there are multiple options. So I can say more gentle or gentler, or most handsome or handsomest. Okay, so these are all commonly used. I put some of the common ones on here. There may be others, but take a look at this, whichever one you like best. Okay, this is misspelled, likeliest. Yeah, whichever ones you like best, you can choose which one you like to use. Okay, it can be more gentle or gentler, right? It's more simple or simpler. So I gave you simple above, but a lot of people now they're saying more simple. Some people say that's wrong, but language changes, okay? So these ones are fine to use both. Now, moving on to 3-syllable adjectives. Interesting stuff, guys. So 3 syllables, musical, for example, musical. Just add more or less. So for example, I am less musical than my girlfriend, or my girlfriend is more musical than I am. Okay, or my girlfriend is the most musical person in our friend group. Okay, or I am the least musical. I'm not very musical. I'm the least musical person in our friend group. Okay, so if you have 3 syllables like these adjectives here, use more, less, most, least, okay? Now, this is interesting as well. There are some irregular adjectives, right? For example, many and much, right? Here we're talking about quantities, right? So don't get confused here, but it's just easy, right? So let's say I have many pens. So let's say I have a bunch of pens here on my desk, This is not a pen, let's pretend it is, it's a screwdriver. So all these pens, let's pretend these are all pens. I have many pens. Now I want to compare the quantity that I have with someone else. I can say I have more pens than Julie. Or I have less pens than Julie. Okay, or I have the most amount of pens, okay, out of anyone in our class. Okay, guys, hard to think of examples on the spot. Much is just for uncountable items. You hear all those pens and screwdrivers. So much is for example, I drank more water than she did, or I drank the most water out of anyone. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, good. So here are some other ones. Um, far. This is an interesting one. It can be farther or further. Don't worry too much about the difference, guys. The tendency is to use farther for distance, and further, can be for other things, like it's the furthest thing from the truth, so it's not the truth at all. So that's not talking about a distance. Here we'd prefer further, but really don't worry about the difference there. Okay. Yeah, don't worry about that. Better, worse, you guys have heard of these ones. She's better than you at ping pong. Better, we're comparing. Best or worst, we're saying out of a group. Remember, superlatives always out of a group of people. So he's the worst player I've ever seen. Okay. Out of anyone. That's why this present perfect is used. Okay. Now, guys, on another note here, we can also use comparative superlatives with can't talk. Adverbs. I was gonna say adjectives. Adverbs. Okay. So I biked more carefully than John. Adverbs, right? Adverbs describe verbs. So to bike. Unlike adjectives like he is tall, that tall describes him. Adverbs describe verbs. So for example, I biked more carefully than John. Here I'm describing how I biked. So I'm giving more information about this verb, right? And if I want to compare the way maybe John and I biked, okay, then you're going to want to use more and less for all regular adverbs, okay, and most and least for the superlative. So I biked the most carefully out of all the children, okay, that's for a whole group of people. Now there are some irregular adverbs, however. Taking a look here, for example, well. I did the job well. Okay, that means that you did a good job, right? I did the job well. I'm describing how I did the job. Okay, I'm describing the did, right? I did the job well, right? If you want to compare two people who did maybe the same job, I can say I did the job better than he did. Or the superlative, the camera performs best when fully charged. Okay, so best is the superlative for well. All right, when your camera or your phone is on low battery and it's slow or whatnot. So that's what this is trying to say. Early, you don't say more early, you say earlier. I woke up earlier than she did. So this earlier describes the way you woke up, describes this verb, okay? And earliest, worse and worse. So you can read these examples on your own. Pause the video if you like, okay? Now, a couple more. I'm just going to scroll down here. Don't worry about this bottom part. Yeah, so here are some other examples. For example, fast. He skates faster than I do, right? He skates faster than I do. Not he skates more fast. He skates faster. Okay, so this faster is describing this verb, skates. So he skates faster than I do. So it's not like our regular form here for adverbs, more and less and most and least. It's a special one. So these are all special ones here. Okay, so you can read these on your own. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the comment section, comment section box, whatever you want to call it below. Thank you so much for watching. If you're on my website, go on to the next step. Do the exercise now. It's fresh in your mind. Just go, 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 go. Do it. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and check out ProfessorMontyEnglish.com. I'm sure it will help you out. Start a course. Start a free course. Why not? Anyway, thank you so much, guys. God bless. See you in the next video.